Can you believe it's the end of 2022? What's going to happen in the 2023 property market? What a turbulent time 2022 has been, with interest rates going sky high, inflation sky high, the cost of living crisis, 3 prime ministers in about 3 weeks, thanks for that, Conservatives, and so much more. You'd think the property market would have crashed, but no, it's been pretty stable. But is that going to continue throughout? First, let's talk about supply versus demand. So over the last 40 years, on average, around 1.5 million properties have sold every year in the UK. And 2022 has actually dropped a little bit. Well, what's caused this? Well, first of all, we've seen the impacts of Brexit, COVID, and that's still having an impact throughout. So there's been a slowdown in the progress of workload, let's say. It's not that people are going slower, but they're overwhelmed with the amount, and we just don't have enough bodies on the ground in the UK to facilitate that. But also what's happened is the increase in interest rates. Now, you might think, well, how does that actually diminish the demand? Well, if the cost of debt, and in property, a majority of people are purchasing with a mortgage, which is debt, and that gets more expensive, then it means that you can't afford the property. And so what happens is there's a slowdown and reduction. So whilst in 2022, this hasn't played out in a dramatic way with around 150,000 property drop, is this going to play into 2023? Interest rates have had a fairly dramatic impact. So the base rate right now is about 3%. It's probably still going to go up, but it's more the fixed interest rates that actually translates to for us as buy-to-let investors, and if you're a homeowner, it's impacting you too. So what this has meant for a fixed interest for 5 years is people have been paying up to 7%. That's not actually that dramatic historically, by the way, but what you need to think about is the average property is worth £300,000. Back when it was, I don't know, 15% for about a week, the average property was about 120 grand. So it's a very different conversation. What people have then had to shift into is a discount variable rate, which has helped quite a lot of our investors, where we're still able to get discount variable rates of about 4%. Now, the great news is the predictions in 2023 is, yes, they're going to go up slightly more. My guess is about 0.75%, by the way. And then it's likely to drop back down. And so in the second half of 2023, we're likely to see fixed 5-year mortgages of between 4 and 5%. But let's see if that comes to reality. Of course, then the question is, well, how does this translate to demand? I think there's going to be a slight drop in demand still in the first half of 2023, and then we're likely to see a pickup in Q3 of 2023. So I'm thinking that next year there's going to be roughly about 1.1 to 1.2 million in sales. On the other side of this, you've got rental demand. So there's been so much going on, but what you need to understand in property, and this kind of links in with how you're making money, and it's something we call combined returns. You've got your rental return and your capital return. And whilst the capital growth of property goes up through inflation, and of course there being more demand than there is supply, you've also got that rental impact. So if there's less demand in the purchase of property, what does that mean for the rental demand? Obviously, it goes up, because the one thing you can guarantee is that everybody still needs a home. Just where they live, it might change a little bit from purchase to rental. So what this means for people that are owning properties is that the rental demand goes up. When there's a lack of supply, what happens to prices? Rental prices will go up. And from an investor point of view, this is really good news. From the everyday person, I actually feel really bad for them. I think people that are renting, it's going to become more and more stressful for them through 2023. So if you are a landlord, just try to do a decent thing and help people out. It's not all about profit, right? So what this is going to bring, for a good point of view, is next year, we're likely to find an opportunity for finding great deals. And I'll define what I mean by a great deal in a moment. but also we're going to get that rental increase. And then on the back end of next year, we're going to see a real surge in property prices again. Now, I'll let you know where I think that will level out by the end of the year, but that's what I'm thinking with the rents. So very much contradictory to the last 2 years where it's very much been the seller's market, we are now going into the buyer's market. So this will mean two things, and I'll tell you the one out of the two that I'm more interested in a moment. Number one is getting some discount on property. Do I think you're going to be getting huge discounts like back in the day? No, I don't think that's going to be the market that we're in, but maybe getting a 5-6% discount on a property on today's real value, I think that's more likely if you're able to get direct to vendor, which is going to be key in 2023. More importantly for me though, is getting access to areas that we've not been able to. I'm talking about the prime parts of your location. In my area, these are areas where, £150,000 property in my area, maybe it's 300 where you are, but this 150 grand property would sell like that for 180 grand. And that is just absolutely crazy. So people have been bidding way over the odds for this property, which I'm just not interested in. So now, because of this recalibration, it's making those areas available to us. So yes, getting a bit of a discount is nice, but I don't really care. I genuinely don't care about getting a 5-6% discount. I'd rather pay full market value in an amazing area that's going to hit those demand versus supply metrics over the long term. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll realize how much money you make in buy-to-let property is based on how long you actually own the asset. So that's what's important to me, but maybe you're more interested in the discount. So what do I think is going to happen to property prices in 2023? What I think we're going to see is around a 5% drop next year. That's an overall for the full year. Some people are much more optimistic than me and think it's going to increase dramatically. Some people are over the top, in my opinion, and think it's going to go down to like 10% drop, which I just can't see. Now, the true question is, does it matter? And the answer is, it depends. So if you're looking for turnaround property, so you're buying it, refurbishing it and selling it, maybe you're doing a development, then yes, it really does matter, because what you're going to need to do is take account of that drop on the GDV, the GDV being the gross development value, the end value. So what I would do if you're looking for a turnaround property is I'd work out my numbers based on today, and then the GDV, the end value, drop that by 5%. Are you happy with the amount of profit? Because that's more realistic, in my opinion. Hey, something could happen where it goes up 10% next year and then you've just won. But be practical about that. What about if you're into boring, vanilla buy-to-lets just like me? Well, does it matter? No. What we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of the opportunity. Like I said, it's the buyer's market. 2023 is the time to buy. However, you need to be smart about that. Either you're going to want to get a little bit of discount on the secondary areas that aren't insanely good, but they're great areas still. Or what I'm focusing on, and for our investors, is we're not bothering with a tiny discount that's really not making a difference in the long term. If we can, then great. But we're focusing on the best possible areas in the UK that we know, look, people are looking to keep for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Maybe their kids inherit it. And we're looking at that long-term combined return. So is 2023 the year to fear? No, it's just not. It's an exciting opportunity as long as you have the knowledge and you're ready to take action. I hope you got value from this video, and if you're new to property and you're thinking 2023 is the year, I am starting it off with a bang in January. Every single day a new video will go out on the basics of property investing. So if you're at the start of the journey, this is the perfect time to hit subscribe and the notification bell. I hope you have an amazing new year. Hit the like if you got value from this video, and I'll see you in January.